somewhere on Earth is headed for New Mexico, the fifth largest state of the USA. With barely 1% of the population, it is one of the country's most sparsely populated regions. Situated between Texas and Arizona, New Mexico is a wide-open land of desert and mountain. Sarah grew up in Taos on the banks of the legendary Rio Grande. She is a devoted fan of this river, where she spends most of her time on her favorite activity, whitewater kayaking. She lives the free and simple existence of those who have found their way in life. James lives on the cusp of speed, risk, and fear. Tearing along at over 80 kilometers an hour, he's in search of the perfect balance between adrenaline and harmony. For him, skateboarding is more than an extreme sport. It is an art in itself. 10 years ago, Kristi returned here to the ancestral Apache lands in the southern part of the state in search of her identity. Now she is undertaking a pilgrimage to the heart of the Indian world, and thus retracing her own history.
You know, you can look here and say, bugs, dirt, dry, or you can look here and say, wow, vast, open, wild. So I think that you have to have something inside of you that's going to respond as well. And I think that's why the story of being a Native American descendant is so important, is having that blood allows that response.
Southern New Mexico was Apache territory. Kristi Moya and Joe Science are Native American descendants. Their ancestors belonged to the Chiricahua tribe. Roaming this vast, wild region together has been a way for Kristi and Joe to commune with the spirit of the Apache people that continues to haunt these mountains. The Apache culture in New Mexico was nearly wiped out during the conquest of the West. Now the Indians live on reservations. But for Kristi and Joe, their freedom is too precious for them to live on the lands handed back by the U.S. government. About 10 years ago, Kristi happened to find out that she is a Mestiza, a mixed-blood descendant of Spanish and Apache origin. This discovery changed her life.
My mother died when I was 2, and my descendancy comes from my maternal line. And my father hid her story and also hid the fact that I still had family on my mother's side. I had 3 aunts and a grandmother and a grandfather, and until he died, I had no idea. One day, I got a phone call from my brother about saying, Kristi, are you sitting down? We've gotten a call from a radio program that says that our Auntie Connie has found us. She came on the radio and introduced herself. And it was a little bit difficult to go through that on national radio. So they picked us all up by limousine and helicopters and brought us all to San Francisco, and we had a big family reunion, and it was very moving.
Before she learned of her family history and rediscovered her Native American roots, Kristi was a graphic designer. She led a comfortable life by the Pacific Ocean in Northern California, where she raised her 2 daughters. Then she decided to turn over a new leaf and follow her instinct. She came to settle on these vast, wide-open spaces to live out her Apache identity that had been hidden from her for so long. Now, little by little, Kristi is picking up the threads of her long-buried heritage.
It is not unusual for Native American descendants to not know they descend from Native blood. And a lot of that has to do with shame, in that, it was still in the 1940s where there were signs on public buildings, no Indians, no dogs.
At the Padilla Ranch, Joe is getting the horses ready for his trip with Kristi. They're about to undertake a pilgrimage to the heart of the ancestral Apache land.
We can make it's like a southwestern sandwich. So when you're on the trail, all you have to do is eat it.
That was always one of the complaints of the military when they started chasing Apaches in here. It was just how rough the country was. But Apaches were used to it. They dealt with it. They accommodated for it because we believe that this country was made specifically for us.
Back in California, 1,500 kilometers away, one of Kristi's daughters is about to give birth to a little Apache girl. So Kristi is about to become a grandmother. She wants to celebrate the event at Warm Spring, a traditional site sacred for all Apaches. There's only one trail that leads there. Joe and Kristi will have to do a 4-hour drive across the desert, then 2 days on horseback.
I'm used to feeling everything how it feels on the horse and the saddle, so if I have to saddle in the dark, I can do it. You never know in the wilderness. Half a horse? No, not really, but I have a good idea of what's good for them and what they may need, because I like what I do, so I have to try to keep my horses in good shape. And
Yes, he's half a horse. You are. Our wild Indian ponies, they were part of us. Like you were talking with Joe, is he part Is he part horse? Are they part Indian? Maybe so. It's not often we get to have an experience where the ground itself, the water, the mountains, everything can just feel a part of your body. It isn't even about, owning or controlling or, fencing. It's just the fact that this wild terroir, this wild land, this wild soil has the bones of our ancestors. Joe is, in Apache family style, my brother. And so what he did was what he does best, and that is he showed me Apache culture and history through land. And so we traveled, I think it was about 2 years together off and on, throughout Apache territory, which is our territory, which is southern New Mexico, all the way down to Chihuahua City in Mexico, along the mountains back up. And so I've seen, everything where we used to roam and we used to live.
Joe's family, proud of its heritage, gave him a very traditional upbringing. His Indian name is Mbatsu, the wolf. He has become Kristi's best friend. Together, they are traveling back in time through their common heritage, back to the origin of their now vanished world.
Growing up, my family taught us about the idea of being a person in nature, not to use tools, not to use vehicles and cars and trucks and things everywhere. There's places that should be left just like they are. We should not leave trash, we should not leave things behind. If anything, only our footprints and our hoof prints. All our ancestors and all our elders have always told us to protect what we have, that it is our duty and our responsibility to do that.
Nothing like the wilderness. Quiet, vast. We're just a little tiny piece of a great big picture. This is our land. It's in my bones, it's in my blood. It's Apache land.
These arid lands of New Mexico seem to jealously guard their secrets. And yet they say that the mother of all Apaches was born from the clear water of a spring. This evening, Kristi and Joe are only a few hours away from that sacred stream.
Moments like this in the morning when the day is starting out, it's a good time to pray. The day is changing. It's that change that I like. Last night was nice. Always with the coyotes singing. It's nice to know that animals are around. So if you see tracks, if you hear them, the birds singing, that's why I'm out here.
Wait, did you hear rustling last night? I thought I heard something really early this morning, but it didn't sound big. I think there's a bear in your belly.
Yeah, it's a hungry bear.
Uh-huh.
But I gotta fight it.
Warm Spring, the Apache's sacred source, flows from the base of these hills. Joe knows the spot very well and comes here often to commune with the spirits of his people. This is the mythical wellspring that is at the heart of Apache spirituality.
This spring is known as a sacred site to Apaches, especially the Chiricahuas. We believe that the Chiricahuas, this is one of the places where they emerged onto the earth when we were created and put upon this earth to live here. Yusen, Okka, Ai Hanataje. Hayago, Onait Hayu, Hadag, Hayago, Onait Hayu, Hadag, Okka, Ai Hanadaje, Hayago, Onait Hayu. Apache people are spiritual people by nature. Everything that we do involves prayer, involves acknowledging the elements, the air, the water, the land. And so whenever we go somewhere that's special, we want to approach it in the proper way. And one of those ways is to pray and offer prayers to the place that we're at. And that's always something that is done by Apache people, and especially in a place like this.
Hey, way, Ohio. Hey, way, Ohio. Hey, way, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, way, oh. Today, a new life in my family came into being. And my newest granddaughter was born early this morning. And she's an extension of this place. She's another Apache descendant. And I intend to make sure she knows that and to bring her here. You know, let her play in the water as a baby and then tell her the stories as she grows up, so she knows where she came from. And so she always feels like she has a home.
Perhaps someday in the future, A woman of Apache descent will also make the pilgrimage to this sacred spring. She will recall that long ago her grandmother, who led an exceptional life, came to chant here on the day she was born.